Hello and welcome back to the 26th episode of my still unnamed survival series. We have very big plans for today because I am going to start my mega base. And probably do some other things as well, but I don't really know because I haven't thought this episode through at all. I just know that I want to start my mega base today, so we should probably gather up some resources for that. And the thing that we'll need the most of is dark prismarine, and we need to use our wither killer for that. I have gone ahead and brewed up quite a bit of splash potions of poison. I think 2 shulker boxes full. We need quite a bit of potions to actually run our farm. And hey, why are you like this? I didn't do this. Oh, that was probably Monkeyatso. He likes to open up my trapdoors when he knows it annoys me. And if you don't know who I'm referring to, we had a guest on our world tour episode in episode 25 of this series, and he loves to mess with me. So if you haven't seen that episode, feel free to check it out. I think it's a pretty interesting one, and you get to see the entirety of my world, which isn't much. But back to what we were doing. I need to go into the nether and AFK over at our wither skeleton skull farm for quite a long time because we need quite a bit of skulls. And we have arrived. I have flown all across to my nether to make it to our farm. What a weird glitch. When are they gonna patch that? That's been in for quite a while. But now I actually have to go turn the farm on because this farm is not actually finished. I have yet to install my pressure plate system. But I think we actually have a few mobs in there already. That's kind of cool. Oh, there's a blaze down there. We're gonna fly away to despawn him and then land back on our AFK beacon and hopefully get a few mobs. We wouldn't actually have to fly away to despawn anything if we actually had our pressure plate system. We would just fly to our AFK point and then stand on it and it would just activate everything. But alas, we still have the lever because I'm too lazy to actually put in the system. But in the meantime, I am going to AFK here and hopefully get quite a few skulls. I didn't get as many skulls as I would like, but we still got a few. We got 14 wither skeleton skulls. That's not a lot, but it's still enough for what I actually want to do. And what I want to do is now go out to the end and do a little bit of AFKing there as well. We are going to be AFKing at one of these farms. If you don't already know, there is in fact 2 farms over here. We have a wither rose farm and a chicken farm. The chicken farm is purely for the fuel for this wither rose farm. So I need to AFK here first before we can actually run the wither rose farm. We really need to get a lot of wither roses. We need about a shulker box and a half of wither roses, so that is going to be quite a bit of chickens. As you might already know, 1 wither rose is 1 mob killed by the wither. It will drop it as soon as the mob dies. Unfortunately, this is taking a little bit longer than I thought it would, so I decided that I would try and figure out the actual numbers of this farm. 2 shulker boxes of eggs gives me about a stack and 44 wither roses, and that is not a lot. It takes me about an hour and a half to AFK for 2 shulker boxes of eggs. That means we're getting roughly 1.5 wither roses per minute. That's not good. That's not good at all. I need to fix this. We need to get a lot more wither roses per minute from this farm, but I don't know how to do that yet. So for now, I think I'm just going to throw a lot more chickens into my little AFK area, and hopefully that means we'll get a lot more eggs per minute and then a lot more wither roses per minute. And just in case I did my math wrong, I'm going to double check and see if we actually got those numbers right. We got those numbers about right. This farm produces about a stack and a half of wither roses per double chest of eggs, which is 2 shulker boxes. But we still have an egg shortage. We need to increase production of these eggs by almost tenfold. And the only way I can think to do that is by breeding up more chickens inside of our egg farm. So I guess I'm gonna do that until I get the numbers that I want. We'll see how that goes. I have done a little bit to my chicken farm. I've replaced my shulker boxes with a few chests, and I have a lot of chickens in there. I did have to go back on how many chickens I had in there because it was causing way too much lag. But now we're resting at about 3 stacks of wither roses an hour from this farm. I can live with that. It's not quite as efficient as I would like, but we still get enough wither roses to suit our needs. We have about 2 shulker boxes filled with wither roses, which is definitely enough for our plans today. Now that I have a lot of these wither roses, I'm gonna plop these into my ender chest and go back home. We actually have enough to get started on our mega base. We have a lot of black dye, and this is all to make a lot of dark prismarine, which is pretty much all we're going to be making with this black dye today. We are going to be saving a little bit of it for some light gray terracotta that is also going to be a part of this base. But we need to find a Badlands first. Well, we don't have any more wither roses now. It's all black dye. So we're going to take one shulker box filled with black dye and plop it right next to my shulker box filled with coal and my prismarine shard storage collection. We are now going to be making a lot of dark prismarine with a lot of black dye. I'm just going to go ahead and craft up all the dark prismarine I think I need for this base, which is quite a bit. I think about 2 to 2.5 shulker boxes of dark prismarine alone. I'm actually really excited for this base. I've never really used prismarine to build in any form before, and this base relies on prismarine and various types of it for a lot of things. I've only ever used guardian farms as a form of experience, and I've never really used prismarine as a building material. I'm really excited to use it in this base and in this world. I have made all of this dark prismarine. This is pretty much all of the dark prismarine that I'm actually going to need for the first half of my base. I'm not including some decorative bits later on, but this is all we're going to be using today. I've also brought over some 4-sided acacia and some bone blocks as well. The acacia is going to be a part of our base, and so is the bone block, but we're going to use the bone block as kind of a base to build off of. I also have a bunch of other stone type blocks and some other various bits and bobs, all of which are going to be part of our base eventually. But for now, I think I'm going to fill my inventory with dark prismarine and some of the 4-sided acacia, and we're going to start laying out the foundations for our mega base. This is the layer we are going to be building off of. I want the foundation of my temple castle. I really haven't decided what I want to call it yet, but it's going to be one of those things. But this is the layer I wanted to start at. I want the center of my whatever we're building to be right here at this pressure plate, so we need to count off of that. And we need to go out 50 blocks to keep our pressure plate at the center of our base. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4 and continue on to 50 until we get to the 50th block, where I'm going to place the dark prismarine and then start building, because the dark prismarine is going to be the exterior of our castle temple thingy. So we're going to subtract 1 from 50 and then subtract 4 more from 50, which gives us 45. So we need 45 bone blocks to actually bring us to where we want our dark prismarine to be. Now that we have our count and we know exactly where we need to be, along with a pre-measured pile of bones, I think it's time that we actually start building out and start laying things out. I'm just about done here. Finally, now I'm going to check my coordinates to make sure we are in the right place. And I have negative 311. That means we should get negative 361 for our pressure plates. So we're going to go back and double check those numbers. Wonderful. Negative 361. Perfect. We are in the right spot, and it is time to get started on our base. I am about to start our long-awaited base project, and I think this is best accomplished in a time lapse. Alrighty, our perimeter is built, and it's looking pretty alright. We do have a few problems. If we take a look right over here, you might recall I wanted this pressure plate to be the exact center. It's not. If we take a look at my coordinates right here, we are on negative 360. Remember that number because that is the number our pressure plate is on. Now we're gonna fly over here and we're gonna land on the exact center right here. I'm gonna split the difference because this dark prismarine is 5. We have a center. 1 block center, and our coordinates show negative 361. I've now moved over a block and it shows negative 360. So our pressure plate is 100%, without a doubt, not our center. Which is fine. I'll just have to change a little bit of my interior design I had planned. Not really a big deal, but I did want to point out this colossal mega base size mistake. It happens, but I'll always laugh at the fact that this base will forever be 1 block off. But the base of our base is still not done. I need to remove these bone blocks and replace them with some 4-sided acacia. I only use these bone blocks to help me count out where the dark prismarine needed to be, but now I'm going to be adding some little squiggles in between my dark prismarine. And I have my perimeter completely finished. It is looking really squiggly, especially for what it's gonna end up looking like. It's definitely not gonna have this squirrely vibe, although I am kind of liking it. We kind of have an odd color palette so far, but it is gonna get a lot more stable as time goes on. I promise you, it's gonna look great, and I think it's gonna look fantastic. This is going to be a fairly large base, and hopefully in the future it's dwarfed by an even larger build. That's kind of the plan for the future, but I don't know how well that's gonna go. I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. As of right now though, I really like the way this is looking. We didn't make as much of a dent in my materials as I thought I would. We still have a lot of dark prismarine left over. So apparently I'm just really bad at math today because I totally overestimated the amount of dark prismarine we would need, and I put my entire mega base 1 block further south than it should have been. In the grand scheme of things, 1 block doesn't really matter too much when it comes to this base. Eventually, I am going to be building an elven city somewhere around this temple thing, whatever we want to call it. But I wanted to put this in place first so I could actually build a large landmass off of this, so it looks like the castle is what created the land, because that's kind of going to be the lore involved in this city. This is going to be a fairly large city and a fairly large base, and after the 1.18 update, it's gonna get even larger. After the 1.18 update, we're gonna be able to build way up higher into the sky and be able to build a lot bigger than we can now. I am still currently in the 1.16 update, just so I can still run a few of my farms, but I do have plans to update very soon. Well, that went a little quicker than I thought it would. And I still have a little bit of time left in this episode, so I'm thinking that we push a little bit further ahead on this base build, and I'm gonna add what I call fins to our base. I'm gonna go a little bit higher up and actually add to the structure and future shape of our mega base. So I'm gonna grab a little bit more prismarine and we're gonna hop right into it. So these fins are the first step into actually building up our mega base. This is the first thing that we're adding to the base of our structure, and it's gonna send us up probably about 15 blocks. This is gonna be a small portion of what's going to be a very large wall. This is gonna take up most of our dark prismarine, so we might need to make more. Every little spot that we have dark prismarine on our little squiggly line is going to have dark prismarine coming up from it. It's going to bring up our base probably about 7 blocks, give or take, and these are going to look like fins or quite possibly even scales. This temple thing is kind of going to have an aquatic theme. The idea for this area is some sort of seafaring elven people. Most of their economy is going to be based on imports and exports from this port city. And the architecture is going to mimic that, well, as best as I can try to mimic it. So we are gonna have a lot of ships and naval type things over in this area by the sea. We're gonna have a few docks, a lot of large vessels. That's my plan for now anyway. A lot of these ideas that I talk about in some of these videos might not actually happen because it's me brainstorming. Nothing about this world is or will ever be written in stone, and it's all about how I enjoy playing Minecraft at the time. But these are our fins, and I think it's time we build a lot more of these. I've just finished building up these fins on this far corner, and this is going a lot better than I thought it would, and I'm actually really liking the look of this. I'm gonna have to build these somewhere else in some other structure because I really like this shape. I am definitely making some headway with this build. I'm about 1/3 of the way done so far. I'm right up against that next corner, and we are really moving along rather quickly. This is definitely not taking as much time as I thought it would, which is a really good thing. That means the next portions of our base might go just as quickly. There's something like 27 of these fins. I'm not exactly sure on the number, but I know it's a lot, and it was kind of daunting to actually start this project. So I am really happy it's going so quickly. I'm about 3/4 of the way done now, and I've been sneaking some glances, and this is really coming together. It's looking so good. This is honestly making me really excited for the next time we do a base building session. I can't wait until this whole thing is built up and it just holds this whole area together. Hopefully it just radiates the theme that I'm trying to go for in this area, and it might give me a little kickstart to actually build more houses and stuff in this area for our city. I'm getting really excited for it, but honestly, we still need to build a few more farms to get the resources for this building. A few blocks that come to mind is warp stem, basalt. We also really need some quartz for this building as well. I definitely need to build that piglin bartering farm. And a new gold farm as well. In 1.17, the gold farm we have now won't work. It relies on drowns, and they'll drop copper. That still might be kind of useful though. And I am just about finished with our final fin. Everything is looking amazing, especially with this beautiful sunset. Honestly, it's kind of breathtaking. But let's take a view from the sky. You know, flying around this thing, it seems a lot bigger than I first thought it would be, and it's only gonna get bigger from here. But I truly love this view. It is just absolutely gorgeous. I can't wait to see the sunset behind my castle when it's actually finished. That is gonna be a great day. But on another note, we still have a lot of dark prismarine left, like way more than I thought we would have, which is awesome. So we don't actually have to make any now, or probably ever. But for now, we're gonna pop in the nether. What we are looking at is the future home for a colossal gold farm. It is going to be utterly massive in every sense of the word, really. Currently, we are standing in a huge nether waste biome, which is perfect for gold farms. Honestly, this is going to be a spectacular spot to put one. This is utterly perfect. It's right outside of where our first portal is, and it's one of the largest nether waste biomes I've ever seen, which means a very large gold farm. The idea I have is to dig out a very large 100 by 100 block area all the way from bedrock to bedrock and make this into a mixture of my gold farm and my nether hub. We might actually throw a piglin bartering farm in here as well. I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna do that yet, but we'll figure that out later. For now, we're gonna call it an episode right here. Okay. I thought that went somewhere else. Crashes aside, we are gonna call this an episode right here. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. We did a lot. Finally used all of our farms for what they're actually supposed to be used for. We started on our base, which is looking fantastic, and we made plans to start a gold farm in the nether. Ow. Ow. No. No. Oh, God. No. Okay. I think I'm good. No. No. Okay. All right. That could have gone better. The nether is dangerous. Well, I'm gonna get out of here before I actually die. If you're still watching, thank you. I really appreciate it. I would also appreciate it if you like, share, subscribe, maybe even comment. But for real, if you have any tips or tricks for using DaVinci Resolve or video editing in general, please leave a comment down below. I would love to hear it. I'm still getting breath sounds in my audio. I did buy a new microphone and it has helped quite a bit, but it's not quite at the level I would like it to be. So if you have any tips or tricks for that as well, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you again. Goodbye.